Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to just jump right into it. So, let's talk about where this apparent me and this apparent you starts from. So, let's go back to your birth. So, your parents give you a name, you're born, the doctor agrees with it, you're given a birth certificate, you're given a social security card, everything's logged on the date that you were born, the time, how much you weighed, how big you were, all of the above, right? So, this initially sets up your self identity and my self identity. And there's everybody else that's confirming this identity for you. Your parents say, "Well, yeah, this is your name, this is where you were born, this is who you are, this is here's some pictures to show you what's happened to you." And even though you were this pink wiggly baby or brown or whatever race you are, it does not mean that you're not your birth certificate, you're not the piece of paper with some pen ink on it and all of the above, or a copy of your birth certificate. So that's not who you are. So this whole storyline just starts getting set up from there, this identification process. And as you get older, you start adopting all the beliefs. See, your family already has their cultural conditioning, they have their religion, they have their beliefs, they have all of that. So you're just born into that. And I know this isn't anything new, but it's really it's really that you just get a lot just kind of loaded onto your plate at a very young age. And a lot of it, when you're younger, you don't really pay attention to, you don't really understand it. Your parents might be trying to get you to do certain things. That's just what happens. So yeah, I mean, with that, you just start creating this self identification, and it just layers on top of layers on top of layers. And you're completely identified as, this is the me character. I'm experiencing all of this. I feel the emotions, the thoughts arise from the conditioning, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, really, this goes on your whole life, and it just becomes your identity. There's no question about it. There's no, if you don't inquire into it, why would there be a question? Because it's what's apparently happening. I'm this me structure with all these thoughts that arise and this knowledge that this individual has gained, survival strategy, all of that. So it just becomes so what is, and so recognized as this is what it has to be, that it's never really questioned. And when you don't have anything to compare it to, why would you question it? you know and then, of course, certain people, they come across information like spiritual awakening or different things, and they hear these stories, and they go, oh, okay, well, maybe there is something else, maybe there's something that I'm not looking into, maybe there's a better experience of what I have now, or maybe there's been past suffering and the person is trying to escape all of their thoughts and their mind chatter and just the constant information that's coming in, and that arises from this conditioning. So that's where the inquiry comes in. That's where something almost does like an about face and questions, well, who is this character? Who is this me structure that I feel so deeply within, or think about, or just recognize as the me? And there can be a deep inquiry into, well, am I just my thoughts? Am I just the conditioned thoughts that arise? Am I all the experiences that have happened in the past? Who am I? What is that? And when you get to that point, you can really go deep into it. And it's not a mental, it's not like you have to really focus on it. You actually it's more like a unfocusing of all the conditioning. Let the conditioning kind of just fall away and undo itself, and just not have it hold any kind of meaningfulness as you're doing this inquiry, and just say, well, who am I? And of course, the thoughts will arise. Well, you're this person born here, and these are your experiences, and memories come up. But those are memories. Those are thoughts. Those aren't that doesn't make up anything. It's a thought. So yeah, when you look deep into it and you get to, if you do inquire and you do supposedly get to this point, things start kind of unfolding. They start, in a sense, they start revealing themselves as, wow, okay, well, this is strange, because if I was born in, like, say, Afghanistan or Iraq or anywhere in the Middle East, you would have a whole different set of beliefs. You'd have a different belief system entirely. You would most likely have a different religion. You would just be this same body with a different conditioning to it, to whatever arises. So things that we might judge a certain way would be judged completely different if you were born in other circumstances. So it just becomes apparent that what you are is really just a thought. It's a bundle of thoughts and beliefs and ideas that you've collected throughout your whole life. And when this becomes recognized, it's kind of laughable. It's kind of like, well, I'm not just a thought. You're like, you can kind of start diving deeper into it. And I mean, I don't know if you'd call that like an expansion of consciousness. There's so many names for it. I don't like to really label anything or give anything a name. It's just recognized by something that you aren't the beliefs that you hold about yourself. For example, if you do something here in the United States that somebody might, be really upset about, or it creates a big conflict, you do that somewhere in the Middle East or in Africa or something, and they might look at it totally different, or they might look at it negative. They might, pick up a stick and start beating you over the head with it. It just cancels itself out, because the meaning, the thoughts and the actions are only valid to the conditioning of wherever you live. So I don't want to get too off track with that, but yeah, that's just kind of the beginning. And you start inquiring further into, well, what am I without my beliefs, my concepts? And it does kind of get scary. It can get to like a point where you feel like you kind of start looking around, and the separate sense of self is trying to grab a hold of something and say, well, you must be this and you must be that. And it can be a very scary feeling. And I would imagine a lot of people sort of turn away from that, that realization, or they just don't let it even enter their thought process from the beginning. So yeah, that's just a quick video. I don't want to take up too much time here. This is a big topic, so it's nothing new. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. But if there's any takeaway, it's that you are not the arising thoughts and emotions, the conditioned thoughts and emotions that constantly arise and create this storyline of who you are and what's happening. I mean, the easiest way to look at it is all of that is in the past. So you aren't the past. You're what's actual right now, what's happening now. And so, all right, I don't want to take up too much more time. I appreciate it. Thanks.